We've been talking with Mandy Pender and Kelly Dick, excuse me, Kelly. Both are trauma coordinators at the hospital, and we've been talking about how to prevent falls and some things in the home to do. And I don't know that we covered all of those. We were talking about removing scatter rugs and be sure that handrails are put up in the bathroom.
Yes, in the bathroom.
And stairs. And
in your bathroom and in your tub, those no-skid tub liners and mats.
Right.
And in your bathroom, of course, some of us have linoleum or tile. Sometimes that gets slick whenever you have, of course, water and things. So just be very careful.
Extension cords.
Extension cords.
Oh, yeah.
Space heaters out. Be careful of your extension cords. Not even the fire hazard, but just the triple plug-in things.
Mm-hmm.
And as Christmas time comes up, the glue gun, you get the glue gun out to decorate the Christmas ornaments, or, you're going to glue up your garland or whatever. Those are all things that you add extra lights and stuff, but there's often a little nest of extension cords.
Yeah, to be very, very careful of.
You can trip on those.
Ladders, if you're climbing on the ladder to hang your...
Yes.
And there's something that we can do, a shout out to either the parents or the adult children of older parents, and say, okay, for Christmas, instead of something mom or dad really don't need, say that you'll come over and install all of the safety bars that they need.
Yes.
Or that you'll clean out the gutters. You don't want mom up there, and
Correct.
Yeah, all of those things. And mom, be putting down that you want those non-skid slippers. Be very specific. So ask for some goodies that will really keep you safe from falling.
Right. A step stool.
Yeah.
A step stool for the kitchen. We don't want a ladder, but a step stool where they can, reach, their canned goods. They're on the highest shelf instead of trying to climb up on a chair.
Yeah.
Or hang some curtains. We always see somebody hanging curtains that falls off a chair or a ladder. So maybe a little sturdy with rails step stool would be a nice Christmas present.
There you go.
Well, and Dad, if you're making the Christmas crafts for everybody this year, table saw safety. We always see some of those. Everybody wants to have all their fingers when they're done with their. We always get some of those injuries this time of year too. People are doing their crafts and. Wood injuries with chainsaws.
I was going to say the chainsaws has to be a big one.
What happens is they, I see my husband. I'm constantly telling him, "Honey, I'm the trauma coordinator. Please stop doing that." He just laughs at me. But balance the wood on your knee and then on something else, and then cut it with the chainsaw. I'm like, oh my God, quit doing that.
My goodness.
And it's of course fall, so people are going to make their leaves and burn their leaves, and do not use gasoline to burn your leaves.
Yes.
People really do that.
Every
year. 4 or 5 years ago, we had just a rash of it. It was just one day we had 3 or 4 burns. It was a beautiful day. Everybody was out burning their leaves. We had 3 or 4 bad burns that day. I, of course, immediately texted my son and said, "Please don't burn leaves with your grandpa today."
Yeah.
I knew he was with his grandpa, and I could just see grandpa just starting that fire a little hotter. It's easy to do. And
heck, I've seen my husband with the charcoal and the barbecue and the
exactly.
Honey, we live. You're underneath the deck. It's wood.
Sorry,
anyway.
Men, but they seem to like those big, huge flames.
The bigger the fire, the better.
Yeah,
right?
woo!
Yeah. So those things are really big.
Instead of real fire, why don't you put some fire on your wife's finger?
I think that's
very
a
good,
hint
Kelly.
for Kelly's husband.
For those watching, gotta watch. She's got the ring. What else is going on?
Well, we want to make sure that everyone decorates safely. I know the Christmas tree, you want to get that secure. Sometimes they're a little tipsy, but you can secure the Christmas tree. That way, you have a lot of ornaments on it. Some of them are glass. If it falls, it'll break. It could fall on someone. Our Christmas tree fell on our baby one time.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was one of those old cheap tilty trees then, 15, 16 years ago. But fell on the baby. He wasn't hurt, but it was embarrassing as all thunder, But also, as you're decorating, you want to decorate and keep your floor free of clutter. So if you're decorating and you have, pretty garlands and tinsels and tree skirts, you need to think about, am I going to be walking through here and get tangled in that tree skirt? Especially on our, your staircases and things. It's always beautiful to hang garland or, ribbon or whatever you want to do, or lights. But you also have to think, am I going to be able to get that's one we're not good at. And so it's things you have to think of is, your handrails outside, if you're covering those with lights, are we going to be able to use that handrail? Also your poinsettias and berries and some of those things that you might have down low or something like that. You got to think about the kids.
Those are
And
poisonous.
the animals.
Yeah, those are poisonous.
You don't want your babies or your puppies or cats to get sick also.
Munching on,
Yes.
Even the simple thing of carrying the boxes from the basement or the attic down to the,
sometimes that storage is way up. Let somebody else do it.
And don't have your hands so full. Take a couple of trips instead of one trip with 4 boxes stacked. And if you have mobility issues,
you've been to my house watching me do things.
If you have mobility issues, use some, be creative. Put a sheet down, put your boxes on it, and drag that along with you instead of, like tripping and falling, carrying them.
Yeah.
So, I learned those when I had some trouble with my knee a few years ago. I couldn't carry stuff like that, so I would grab something and drag it down the hall like that. So it makes it easier.
That is creative.
That's very creative.
Yes.
Indians did it quite a few years ago, but
exactly.
Yes, very creative. And also, if you use a real tree, some of us don't anymore, but if you have real trees, of course, they get dry and they're a fire hazard. So you need to be very careful to not overheat your tree. Check all your plugs. Check all your
the bulbs you're putting on
and things.
Yeah.
Make sure you're using safe things. I mean, there's waterproof ones there's some for outdoors that you can use outside, but some lighting and things like that are not supposed to be outside. Yeah. So check your, manufacturer's tags. Of course, we put them up and we don't.
Yeah, you must see as I mentioned, all sorts of things coming through the door that could be prevented.
Last month we had about 400 what they called minor traumas. We saw 22 big traumas and about 19, kind of medium traumas, moderates, what we call them, majors, moderates, and 409 minors.
That's a tremendous amount coming through the Klein Emergency Center.
It is huge.
And how many of them were preventable? Almost all.
Almost. I mean, that's kind of the trauma. Almost all of them are. They're all accidental, of course. Nobody, means to hurt themselves usually, but
with just a little bit more thought, maybe, or a little bit more preventive measures.
Yes.
They may not have happened.
Yes. Yeah. He'll every now and then get on some loose gravel and fall, and that just happens. But that everyday stuff in the house, sometimes, had you picked up the rug or had you been wearing your slippers and maybe differently or
had your seatbelt on.
Yes.
But
it's a big one.
We see people every day that are wearing their seatbelts, and we see the pictures of the cars, and it's like, wow, you can't believe somebody walked away from that. But when they have their seatbelt on, difference. They have so much less injuries that it's just amazing.
It really does. It makes a huge difference. That and the airbags are just huge. And it may leave you a little bruise, but that bruise is much better than flying through the windshield.
Yep, exactly. So, well, we were going to talk about, I wanted to be sure we covered this today. We've talked a little bit about with the holidays coming, we don't want to leave out Thanksgiving.
Yes.
What happens about Thanksgiving time?
Well, a couple of things. People love those newfangled turkey fryers.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that people are careful with those.
Make sure they're outside.
Not on your wooden deck.
Not on your wooden deck. Or in your garage.
Oh my!
Nowhere close to the house where you can catch your house on fire because they just poof
underneath the eaves. It might be misting or something. Yeah. The other thing is that if there's a technique that they have all over the internet, which I'll tell you quickly. You put water in first, and then you drop your turkey in, and you see where it goes to. It needs to be about a ½ inch above it, and then you mark your pot. Take your turkey out. Dry your pot really well, good, so it doesn't splatter with the hot water and the oil. And then use that as your mark for your oil, because if otherwise when you put your turkey in, your oil spills over and hits the open flames, then it causes more flaming. So really important. And thawed and dried turkey. Otherwise, it'll splatter and burn you. So.
Thawed and dried. Okay.
And watch the kids and the animals. You
Oh
don't
my
want them to
gosh.
be running close to that.
Yeah.
Knock it over.
Yeah.
Fall into it.
I just have visions of somebody. Here's my vision: a TV tray, wrong,
Yeah.
with this kettle
Yeah.
on it, with boiling oil, with this long extension cord.
Yes.
And they decide to have, let's play fetch with the dog.
Yes.
I mean, they just have this whole thing.
Like a
Like a redneck Thanksgiving story. Yeah.
Perfect storm.
Yeah,
That's what
perfect
that
storm.
is.
Yeah. So those are great ways to avoid
Yes.
burns, because, oh my gosh, I can't imagine oil burns.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
horrible.
they're horrible,
Right.
yeah.
And just make sure you don't overheat it. Make sure you have a fire extinguisher or flour or something to put it out. Water,
Not
something
water,
to put
yeah.
out.
Not
that
water.
grease
That'll
fire.
just,
Yeah.
So flour or baking
I think baking soda, right?
We had this.
We talked about
not
that.
baking powder.
Yes, baking soda.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
I always kept baking soda.
Yes.
I still keep them in the freezer.
I do too.
Yeah. They're handy. So,
Mhm.
having once had a kitchen fire of
Oh.
oil, so found out the hard way. All of life is an experience.
It is.
Yeah.
You live and learn.
Yep. But that brings us almost to the close of our show, and I know with Thanksgiving coming, each of us have many things to be thankful for. And Kelly, what are you thankful for?
Well, those of you that have watched the show before know that I had a stroke just a couple of years ago, and I didn't think I was going to live through it. And I'm thankful every day that I'm still alive and able to be with my family and friends, and
we
it's
are
amazing.
too. We are too. Yep. We were very worried about you.
But, it's a devastating illness, and I know every day how lucky I was to come out of it as well as I did, and so I'm very thankful for that.
I, of course, am thankful for my children and their health and my family. My babies, of course, have been healthy and unhealthy all their little lives, and with my son and broken bones and things always. And then, of course, my daughter has health issues, but she's very healthy, 5-year-old in competitive cheerleading, and I could not be more thankful for that.
I know you've both been through major. These were not minor health issues.
Right.
With Reese, your daughter, and
Yes.
Kelly with yourself, with your stroke, and I'm thankful for when Kelly mentioned this was Kelly's idea about being what we're thankful for. I'm so thankful that my great nephew Josh is coming along. He was the salute seen round the world that was back a few months ago, and Josh is doing just fine. He has days. It's a challenge. They're still doing lots, trying to get him through rehabilitation and skin grafting and surgeries. But overall, his spirits are good, and we're just glad that Josh and his wife Taylor are doing just fine. So that's what I'm thankful for.
Isn't that awesome? What a great.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us for BRMC's Healthy Connections. Have safe holidays. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we will be back with you in December and talking about some more ways to keep you safe and healthy. Thanks so much for joining us for BRMC's Healthy Connections.